All right, we are rocking and rolling.
Good.
Uh, um, there are a couple of announcements, and oh, here comes Stephen.
Stephen.
Hang on just a second till he gets connected. Stephen, are you there?
There, yeah.
Okay,
Here,
great. We were
good to
just
see you
starting.
guys.
Um,
Good.
and Helen, if most were here when we were talking about the bird trek before the
Sure.
recording started, would you just say another word or two so it'll be online?
Okay, right now we have 7 who are as firm as this group will get, and 2 more that are possibles if they can work out dog care. And I think we're going to continue with our same plan, which is to meet at the library in Pittsburgh at 8 o'clock firm. And everybody arrive with a full tank of gas, and we'll see who's driving, and or we may find a better plan before then. But that would be the worst plan that we could come up with. Anyway, that's a plan.
The current Jello plan, yeah.
That's the current Jello plan for this group, but we've got 2 weeks. We've got 2 weeks to firm it up.
Okay.
So if any of us has a big van or a big SUV, we might be able to do it in 2 or maybe 3 cars.
I can take 4 comfortably. I have a Subaru Ascent with the 3rd seat. The 3rd seat is not really comfortable, but I mean, it can do it in a pinch, but I can take 4 easily.
And I can take 4 with the Murano comfortably.
So that with those 2, that puts us just if the other 2 show up, we'll just be 1 short, but the back seat I could use.
Okay,
Mine could take the 5th one, yeah.
Frank and Bill, is that 4 and counting you?
Are you gonna drive yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's counting me, the driver.
Yeah, the most I've had in mine was 5, which is what it holds, but you know, and it's, I don't know, I've never been in the back seat, so I don't know how comfortable it is, but it should be okay.
And Mike Lotzer's joined us, and Mike, you may be one of the most interested in what we're talking about, which is an excursion to a bird, wildlife, whatever. And I can't remember the name of the place.
Sylvan Heights.
Sylvan
Heights.
Yeah, on June 7, leaving the Pittsburgh library parking lot at 8 o'clock. So if you come, I would suspect you're going to ride your bike, but maybe not.
Well, actually, I'll be on a motorcycle trip from June 1 to about, I don't know, the 14th or 15th. So I won't be able to make it. Sorry to say.
It's okay. Anyway, any questions about the outing before we go on to a couple other announcements? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Stephen. What?
Oh, yeah, I was seeing that we would decide about lunch, and I guess my thought about lunch is there's no place we really want to eat in town there, and there's a lot of nice picnic tables on the grounds, and other things being equal, that would probably be the simple and best thing to do.
Yeah. So bring your lunch. If you have a cooler that will fit in with all of your passengers, might bring that too, just to be safe. Okay. There has been a lot about the exhibit, and I don't know even how to summarize it, but the reception, I think we probably had 25, but not all at the same time. But there have been a lot of people through the fellowship hall that have commented to the pastor and others about how nice it is, and maybe what Mark sent to Helen sums it up pretty well. And at church on Sunday, he met, quote unquote, many folks who appreciate the great photo work of the club. The images dress up the hall and everyone really enjoyed it. And apparently, AJ, we haven't seen much here, was one of the folks that helped hang all the hardware. And the only other thing that Mark mentioned is Bill sold a picture. It's
Oh,
the
so you
one-
did sell it, Bill. Good.
$600,000.
That'll fund your next trip.
That will pay for lunch at the park.
And
Well-
I had a person say he'd like to have a copy of one of mine. He didn't offer to buy it, but he said he wouldn't have a copy of it.
Yeah, I just happened to get an email from this woman, and she's in Farrington here. And this was when I was off on vacation. And when I came back on that Saturday, I had this email in my inbox saying, "Welcome home." And I was wondering, like, did she talk to someone in the group saying that, well, he's gone right now, but he's coming home on Saturday? But what it ended up being is the name of the image was "Welcome Home."
Oh,
And that's the one that she was interested in. So it had me a little confused because, of course, I came back from the trip with food poisoning too. So
oh dear.
Well, that's great.
Not the food poisoning. Yeah.
I lost a little weight.
Lynn, is there anything else about that you've heard about the exhibit you want to share?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Now,
How
when
much?
do we have to remove the images, the prints?
June 12th.
Yeah, and again, 10 to noon, just that morning. And if you can't be there, we'll pick whatever you have hung. We'll pick it up and take care of it till we see you.
So you said the 12th?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I won't be able to pick it up, nor will my wife. So yeah, if you can hang on to mine, I'll
Yeah,
just
we will.
pick it up later. Thanks.
We will. The last announcement has to do with Silver Art. Mark was first out of 3 in film, which means and I had a photo in that group too. So there'll be 2 of us going to state for that. And in terms of the digital, I'm looking back in the years I've been involved, or even just on the outside, the most submissions for digital was maybe 4 or 5 at most. And this year there were 16 people that entered digital. And we had a couple of interlopers. First and second went to folks from the Chapel Hill Camera Club. I can't tell you their names. I think it's Rodriguez and Esquiardo, but I may be wrong about that. Both Chapel Hill folks. And in the year that I think was more competitive than any year that I've been associated, Lynn took 3rd.
Great.
Isn't that great?
Congratulations.
Yeah. And so we'll have 3 photos at state. That's not until September, October, somewhere
September.
mid to late fall. But terrific results. So anyway, any other announcements? And I've been negligent in my duty, Bill. Do you have something for tips and tricks, or we would just want to wing it?
Well, don't I always wing it?
No.
Well, the next one is unusual perspectives. And, the only thing that I really wanted to try to make people think about is you know, if you're average size and you normally take pictures in a vertical position, you're always taking the image from about, 5 to 5.5 feet above the ground. And part of dealing with perspective is looking at things differently. Instead of just looking forward, maybe getting lower to the ground, maybe looking up. Last night I was walking a dog in the village here, and I saw the squirrel just on a limb. But then as I walked under the tree and I looked up, it was now looking down at me, and it was a totally different look. So think about it, just to get lower, aim high, or get higher and look down. But just get away from just standing there taking an image from your normal eye height, and just try to, look at the world a little differently and get that shot for 2 weeks from today. But
Right.
yeah, and if you just go on to, say, if you have Chrome or Edge, just kind of Google perspective photography, and then go to the image tab, and you'll see some stuff that's really interesting. How people maybe have laid down, near some tall buildings or so, and just shot straight up. So it's an area it's all around us. It's fairly simple, and I think it can be pretty creative and fun. So hopefully we'll get to see a lot of good images next time. Plus, what I'd like to do is, because a month from now it's birds, I was going to ask Stephen, would you like to give a little tips and tricks and insight for maybe 10 minutes before our next meeting in 2 weeks?
Yeah, that would be fun.
Because it's on birds, and giving some insights would be good. You have probably the most experience, well, because Mike won't be there too, so
Well, I've certainly read a lot about it, tried to apply some of it to my experience. But yeah, I mean, I've got ideas from people who know what they're talking about. I'd be happy to share with people that,
Right.
that helped me, and I hope would be helpful to other people too.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. If I haven't forgotten how to do this. They're here someplace. That's not it. I had this open a minute ago and now it's gone away. Come on. Well, here we go. All right, let me get back and share screen. Sorry, I'm so slow. Here we go. All right. Bill is first up.
Okay, well, first thing I have to admit is that I had to go to the archive, and
There's a lot of that this time.
and the reason for it is that we're out at the beach for 2 weeks, and the second week I was going to be basically in the same area, but unfortunately I had self-inflicted food poisoning, so I was down and out for the entire week, subject to being close to the house. So, but what this one was, there was a time that I went and I took this scene, and I was wondering what the difference would be for each one of the different white balance options that I had on the camera. Because this is a time when I had a Nikon D750. And I thought that in the metadata, I'd be able to tell, what it was set at. Well, I couldn't. So I don't know which one this is, but this was this was a 1 second shot at it was something like f8, probably the 100 ISO. And I found this one interesting because I actually have the true blue up in that right hand corner. but then it constantly changes on the way down until you hit the horizon, which really denotes the golden hour, and then just kind of follows through to the water. Like I said, I tried probably about 7 different settings, and still not sure which one this is.
Uh-oh.
He just
I
prompted
need
for,
to step away. Hang on, just talk amongst yourselves.
okay.
Bill, did you light paint that in the foreground?
Nope, this is just whatever it was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I had it on a tripod, had the image stabilization off. But yeah, and I just took like 7 different images, and yeah, I even did one that was black and white. But I keep trying to look at this one and try to figure out which would it be. Because if you start going down to lower temperatures, you're going to add in, what is it, blues, and if you go higher, you're going to bring in some reds. And so this is a mishmash. I have no idea.
How did the black and white look?
And nothing.
No, okay.
Yeah, because with the blue and the green and that walkway out there,
Yeah,
you had enough color to. Yeah, this was one of those nights when the sun had just dropped below the horizon, that it just kind of lit up on fire like that, which was, it doesn't happen every day out there.
Where were you?
This is Duck at the Outer Banks. Yeah,
On the sound side?
this is the sound side, yeah. And then the house that we stay at's on the ocean side.
Hmm.
And that's what's nice about Duck. You can walk from one to the other.
right. That's very thin there. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is part of a restaurant out there called the Sunset Grill, which is a great place to enjoy the sunset. Food, mediocre, Sometimes it's all about your environment.
But I love the sunset, the red. It's a really adds to it.
It's really kind of amazing out there that from one day to another, or sometimes from 1 hour to another, it just looks so different. You have to hope for the night with maybe some clouds out there, and
Right.
you get one of those days where it's kind of humid and there might be a little pollution out in the air, and it just lights up the whole sky. It seems that the sky becomes better the worse the atmosphere is.
I've often tried to look for a projection of, is it going to be a good sunset depending on your location? And there is a website where people have tried to do that, because it is a weather thing, right? And you should be able to predict whether there's going to be an awesome sunset in your location. And like I said, I found one website that did a moderate job at attempting to do that. So I haven't searched in a long time.
Yeah, because something like that's important, particularly if you're traveling a bit to try to capture that image. Yeah, the lucky thing here is I'm a minute away from it every night, so.
Right.
And the same thing is like with the, they even have forecast apps for the Northern Lights.
Oh, yeah.
And how far down it'll come in any particular night or so. And yeah, they
Oh,
Folks, let me tell you what's happening. I'm away from home. I have somebody coming by to take care of my cats, and I forgot and set the alarm when I left, and just did not have done that. And so I'm getting alerts from the alarm company saying the door's open. Oh, God. And I'm and I've got a call right now, so I'll be back in a little bit.
Oh, these animals.
Yes.
Whose
Okay.
is it? Whose
So
is
this
it?
one is not Duck. It's not even the Outer Banks.
Ah,
Shocking to everyone. This one, it was actually Wrightsville Beach. And this was
oh, okay.
this was probably within a year or two after we moved back to North Carolina. And I just found this one interesting because there's two objects in here that have a vested interest in the ocean, which is the guy fishing, and of course the gull that fishes out of the ocean as well. And I love the idea that they're kind of looking
At
toward
each other.
And with the background, I mean, it was just the perfect lighting.
I like the fact they're silhouettes.
Yeah,
That adds a lot to it.
And I think they just placed perfectly, even though you didn't place them. It's the perfect, back and forward and the right diagonal. It's really nicely balanced.
yeah. The quality, I guess, of the image itself, I was not really impressed with, but I think by having them be kind of like silhouettes and seeing that, the sky and things like that, just kind of bring it more together. Because this was taken with a Canon T5i back in probably about 2016. And
No, but
you
no,
just got to be at the right place at the right time.
I love the coloring, of the sunset and how it's reflecting off of the water and the beach. That kind of balances it out too.
Yep.
I'm so sorry.
Poor Mike.
Poor Mike.
Those animals.
I
What about the quality? I can't see well enough to tell. What about the quality you didn't like, Bill?
I just didn't feel like I really understood settings very well at the time. Yeah, I shot it at, for all I know, I might have been on automatic because it came up as a 67 millimeter f5, 1/125th of a second and 250 ISO. I mean, yeah, I can
Don't say
honestly
anything
say
bad
back
about automatic.
in,
I said, don't say anything bad about automatic.
No, I don't know. I look at it and I think the quality is, it's got a real nice artistic look to it. So, and everything looks in sharp focus that from what I can see with my eyes, but and the color, I think it looks really good.
It's very rich.
Now, the good thing that happened that I didn't plan was waiting for the water to recede to allow that reflection between the bird and the fisherman.
Right.
If I had taken that later where the water was up there, it may have looked totally different.
Right.
And it would not have had the reflection that it has today.
Yeah, you're probably right. Because if you look at it, well, behind or up to the above the bird where it's flat there, you're not getting the color.
But
I'll be available by phone.
I think you did a great job on this.
I do too. Yeah.
I agree with what Michelle said about
I
the
think,
composition.
Yeah.
I think if you hung it at the church, you probably would have sold this one too.
One of the things I like about photography is it's sort of like fishing that, sometimes you just kind of blunder into something that's wonderful. You didn't intend to, but there it is. And,
Right.
Happy surprises.
well, I took this one picture, I think it was down in Rodanthe, where there's a fisherman down there that was out there like all day long, every day. And every once in a while, he'd sit in his chair and he'd have the fishing pole there and he'd be smoking a cigarette. And you often see him out there like this guy just fishing, but here he was taking his so-called break, I guess, and
Right.
having a smoke. It was just
Have a smoke.
I've often thought fishing is just an excuse to drink beer, but that's me.
It would make a great beer commercial.
I don't need an excuse.
All
I
right,
think that's
I'm back.
ice fishing.
I'm back.
Everything all set?
Yes, well, yeah, now. Anyway, here's the bajunior out of my cat sitter. So embarrassing. So, all right. I suppose you've just waited for me to come back so you can talk about this photo, right?
No, we're talking about you.
This is Larry.
Ah,
Nice, Larry.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I interpreted golden hour differently. I didn't interpret it as a sunset, but going towards a sunset. So that's, I didn't have that colorful sky, but it was cloudy and very windy, and the water was rough, and the sun was fading, and I was cold. So they took this.
Oh,
But
very
you
nice.
Awesome, Larry.
You
That
got some
thing is
nice
awesome.
color in this.
But you have golden sand. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's it. Maybe that's right, Lynn.
And those highlights, the highlights behind the fence, I think you nailed golden hour, man.
I think you did too.
Well,
Yeah.
make me 3, 4, or 5, but I think this is one of your best, Larry.
Really.
Larry, you were saying that there wasn't much color in the sky. Did you put this in with post-processing or?
No,
Wow, well,
no.
that's like a nice color there.
Yeah, but it was cloudy, as you can see. There wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the blue really stands out.
Mhm.
And the contrast of the blue and then the sand.
Yeah.
It's sharp.
So can I make a comment? And I'm only commenting because this is a problem I have all the time. I cannot keep my camera lens clean. And if you look up in the sky on this picture, you can see some spots that are things on the lens.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There's a thing in your post-processing where you can just zap those right out of there. I do
Yeah.
that almost
You're
every
right.
picture I take. So
You're right.
that's the only.
I did notice that afterwards. And when the wind's blowing and it's kind of like, and we all have this, when it sort of feels like it's going to rain, I guess I just forget about cleaning my lens.
I would love recommendations on how to keep it clean. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Well, and Larry's right. When you're out in the in sand or ocean or mist, it's gonna gather these spots, and if you can't keep up with them with a camel hair brush or a bulb blower to get rid of it, just cure it in post. And
Right.
Larry, is whatever software you're using for processing, do you have the ability, access to something that would take those spots out?
Yeah, I use the Apple
Okay.
kit that they have, and it does give you an option to take spots out.
Okay, good. Yeah. When I honestly, I can see them now that, but I didn't see them. I think that if you blew it up, you'd very definitely see it. But
Mhm.
a great photo, and
Yeah.
take much to make it even better.
Thank you.
Okay.
I wasn't a criticism of your picture at all. I love the
No,
picture.
I
Oh
don't
yeah,
take it
yeah,
as-
and I understand, and it's a good point.
I don't
It's a
take
good
it as a
point.
criticism.
Yeah. And this too is Larry's.
Wow.
Oh,
Woo.
So that's really a golden hour
yeah.
because the sun is obviously setting
Mm.
to the left.
What is the mountain?
That's Mount Adams in the Cascades. It's up there's a whole row of them. You have Mount Hood, you got Mount Adams, you have St. Helens, and this is Mount Adams at sunset. I'm very lucky that my son-in-law has a place. I think I showed it to you on one of my pictures that you can literally stand on his porch and use a zoom lens and take phenomenal shots. You don't even have to move. And so this came out well, I thought. I was kind of lucky again. And there's no spots on it. So that's great.
I love the little bit of pink coming in from the sun on the clouds, you know.
Sun is hitting. And the fact that the cloud, you know, the center of the mountain is above and below it. So it's like wrapped around it.
Mhm.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the trees in the front.
Yeah, you got the detail in the trees too.
Yeah, I use that that lens. It's a Sony lens, so it brings it up to about probably 200 millimeter.
Mhm.
Yeah. So thank you.
Two great photos, Larry.
Nice job, Larry.
Yeah.
And this is Michelle.
Oh.
Wow.
So I as well had to reach back to the archive. This is in Sarasota, Florida. And it was really nice to have a west facing beach when we're so used to like the Outer Banks and such, where we're east facing other than
Right.
over the Sound. So I think I was happy camper with the couple of sunsets we got in Sarasota. When obviously the sky was on fire, it was lovely. The first photo I took of this, though, I didn't have any beach. I just took a picture of the sky, and it's so much better having that reference point down at the bottom of the beach and the strip and the people. And they're not really interfering because they're little black silhouettes, but they certainly give you the perspective of what the sky was doing. So I really like this shot.
I do too.
Lovely.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, terrific shot.
No, I agree with you. I think the beach with the people anchors the photo. And the fact that they are almost silhouettes, you know, they're pretty dark.
Yeah.
There's only one or two where you can see some color in there, but no, I think it really adds to
tiny.
it kind of makes you feel how majestic and big that sky is.
Yep. That's how I felt.
Was this at over the Gulf?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I was like. It's been so long since I've been on a west facing beach, you know?
Right. You're right.
So it was quite, other than the bathtub water I could do without, but.
Right. Exactly.
Atlantic. But it was very nice.
Beautiful.
This is a lovely shot.
Next.
I like that stormy feel in the very top of the
Yeah.
cloud. Feels rain.
wasn't
Unlike
that
it's gonna
rain, it was
rain,
just-
yeah.
Well, apparently my cat sitter is going from door to door cleaning, and each time she opens a door, the alarm goes off. So I just had another one of those. So, and to make this perfect, I've got a check out to leave for her, and then I didn't sign the check. So, well, day.
You're firing on all scores there.
Yeah, I am. You don't know the half of it. Okay. This is also Michelle's.
Same beach, different day. Again, just for me, it was a lovely place to be. And much more 50-50 sky beach, you know, so I think that I liked playing with that when I was there, you know, about how much beach, how much sky. The only thing I don't like is that I wish that little puddle on the left lower wasn't there. And I maybe could have shifted a little more sky, a little less beach, but I still like the silhouette of the people and the atmosphere of the sky.
I'm not distracted by the little pond, but
No,
I am.
the kelp or whatever it is that just leads right into the horizon is really cool. Rajan.
Yeah.
Michelle, do you ever use the haze reduction function?
I have, but I often forget, and I'm sort of a minimalist when it comes to touching my photos. I often don't have the patience, so I do a quick once over and I'm done. But I have used the dehaze before, and I should try it again.
Yeah, because that's one of those one-step things that's one of the few things that I do use. Because I'm like you, what you see in any of my images, 95% straight out of the camera. I don't do much, but for some reason that the haze reduction thing just sometimes gives that extra contrast to the sky.
Yeah, I'll have to go searching for it again.
But
Yeah, Michelle, I go down to Sarasota quite a bit. I have family down there. What beach was this? Do you remember?
I don't really remember. We were staying just off Armand's, is it Armand Circle?
Yeah,
And,
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But it was, I'm tourist director for Sarasota. It was a lovely place to go because there were great restaurants. The beach was lovely. The Ringling Brother Museum is down there.
No, that's amazing. Yeah,
There's a
there's
little
so much to see
botanical
and do down
gardens. There's a botanical gardens that was just phenomenal.
Shelby Gardens, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a great little visit.
all right, nicely done, Michelle.
Beautiful, Michelle.
Oh, wow.
This is
Wow.
This is Lynn's.
Whoa.
No,
No.
that's,
Fine.
again, you got that gull again.
Yeah, the bird, the person.
The stuffed one, she carries it around.
I think that's actually my photograph. I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say-
I'm sorry.
Not that it makes any difference.
No, I
Ah,
that kind of day. This is Tom's, not Lynn's.
I wish it were mine.
And mine. The little bird down at the
Oh my
bottom is
gosh.
really cool, as is the silhouette of whoever's standing down there.
So
That's
did-
a lot like Bill's with the fisherman, except this is a straight
Similarity.
diagonal,
Well-
line and not the triangle. But
you got the
yeah,
diagram
it's
through and
That's,
sky is unreal.
I know.
I really like the softness of it, that it's a very, compared to some of the other ones we've seen, this one has a very soft feel, which I like.
mm, mm.
And
Thank you.
the thing about the sun going down, it's not blown out.
It's actually
Sometimes,
coming up there. It's
oh, is that what it coming up? Okay.
yeah,
'cause
yeah.
Sometimes you can try to tone it down too much, but you don't want that blown out, and that's certainly not the case.
There must have been a lot of atmosphere that day, something going on to ease the edges on it. And I agree. I really like the look of the sky.
Beautiful.
That's really,
And
I
the
spent quite a
person-
bit of
the
time, unlike Michelle, I spend most of my time thinking about in post. I do pretty much all my photographs are mostly post. And that little bird in the foreground, it's actually, I wound up sharpening it and then duplicating the sharpening until finally it got to be pretty
Oh,
sharp.
okay.
I don't know, can you zoom in on it, Mike? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I got another alert. You were asking about the surf?
No,
The
the bird, the
If
bird.
you move down a little bit, how
Yeah.
sharp.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it is sharp.
It was pretty much out of focus, but in post I was able to get it really sharp. Well, it's not really sharp, but the illusion of sharpness.
It's a great shot.
really
Yeah.
is.
And
Where
this
is it?
is, oh, let me think for it a minute. This is also Tom's.
Wow.
Mm.
This
So
is
the
al-
other one was at Emerald Isle. This is at again. These are I couldn't find any good weather for golden hour. It kept being kind of cloudy. But
Yeah.
this is so this was a couple of years ago at Stanton River State Park up in just over the border in Virginia. This is sunset, and I really like how the foreground feels feels close. I don't know. I guess what I like is the gradient from sharp to soft.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful photograph.
Looks like a watercolor.
Well, I like my photographs to look not photographic.
Ain't your lead.
It looks a little bit
Yeah.
like a panorama, but is it just the way you've cropped it, Tom?
Yeah, no, I didn't shoot that panorama. No.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Beautiful colors.
I
Mhm.
really spent a lot of time working on the tops of those trees and the way they would reflect the light coming up from behind them. And like I said, most everything I do is post. I really like the idea of painting with photographic images.
Beautiful.
Nice job.
Thanks.
Okay, this next time it is Lynn.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hello.
this is at the Grand Hotel or whatever it's called on Mackinac Island, and I was not there in the last 2 weeks. So anyway, I don't remember anything about. I know it took it with my Sony, and that's about all I know.
It's a beautiful hotel, a beautiful way you captured it too,
Thank you.
with the flags hanging up, and you got that beautiful sun out there in the back.
Yeah.
Well, the columns are straight.
Yeah.
The road leads you into the photo.
Exactly. Everything. You've got the fence, the hotel itself.
Just luck.
Lynn, how long ago were you out there? Do you remember?
Oh, it's probably been 5 years or so.
Yeah, because I was out there, I guess it was 2014. And we went out, took the ferry over to the island and rented bikes and hung around out there. And I went to that hotel and I asked the doorman, can I go inside and take some pictures? And he was going to charge me $10 to do it. I said, forget it. I'll take pictures of the outside. That kind of turned me off.
I actually stayed there. So.
Oh, you did? Oh, so you didn't have to pay the $10. You paid a lot more to stay.
No, I paid, but it wasn't to take pictures.
I just wanted to see the inside of it, that was the,
You didn't miss much.
no,
It's
okay,
an
I didn't know what it was like in there.
It's an old hotel, and when you go down for breakfast or whatever meal, there's this huge dining room. You feel like you're at a convention. It's not very cozy.
Oh, okay. All right. So it wasn't worth the $10.
No,
If I remember correctly, didn't the Disney create the Grand Floridian using this as an incentive or whatever you want to call it?
oh, maybe.
Yeah, I had heard that years ago that they loved this hotel, and then when they built the Grand Floridian, this inspired them.
Oh. Well, it was fun to stay there.
The
I like
sun,
I like that drainage coming across the road and then back up into the sun. I like
That's
that a lot.
right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I should have left that in there now.
Oh, no, I love that.
I like that.
Catches
Again, you got that sun reflecting off of that.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
the way the
Yeah.
sun is kind of refracting off of the clouds like that, and yet that whole area is not blown out. Is excellent.
So I probably did use the dehazing button on whatever slider on this one.
All right. This
And
is
Wow.
I also was not in Cambodia in the last 2 weeks, so the sunsets there are just amazing. So I did wait for the little boat to come across, so it was in the shaft of the sunlight going down behind the mountains.
Yeah.
And that what you see in the middle, right behind the boat, is a little thing they set up to trap fish.
Oh, that like a little structure there?
Yeah, it looks like a little netting or something.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
We're
That's probably the right word. They were very concerned when this is on the Mekong River, and the Chinese were obviously north of there and were working on building a dam. And they were fearful it was going to totally change fishing on the Mekong.
Oh, I would be worried too. Yeah.
Anyway,
But again, there's something about silhouettes that I really like. And you
Especially-
captured it here with those guys in the boat.
especially when you have a sunrise or a sunset.
Yeah. Adds to it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Also, it reflects our next the perspective thing that we're going to do for our next challenge, being above.
Yeah.
Where were you? Were you on a building or?
I was
No.
on, I was on a ship, a small
Oh.
ship,
okay.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
So I was up off the river.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's that.
Beautiful, Lynn.
Yeah.
All right.
How's the cat?
I hope they're still alive.
He's gonna be calling you next.
All right. This is Helen's.
There's a story with this one. I was probably 40 when I shot this.
So just last year, Helen?
Yeah. Now I'm 41. No joke. I have no recollection of when I took this. It's in the 80s or the 90s. It's Wrightsville Beach.
Oh.
I was shot with a film camera on my Minolta. Betty's digitizer. I was playing with it and decided to run a few pictures through it, and discovered that all of my slides are moldy or mildewed. So I spent a lot of time just getting the mold and the mildew out, and I didn't have enough time to dehaze or do anything like that. But that's the sound at Wrightsville Beach in about 1985 to 1990, most likely. That's just a wild guess. Couldn't have difficulty cropping it. It ended up in a different ratio, and Mike had to crop it for me. I
It's a
don't know
good
what was
photo,
going on.
Helen. I mean,
Mhm.
I wonder what all of us, probably all of us, have slides or negatives that need to be scanned, and this was a good save.
Well, it kind of makes me sad. Number one, it just makes me sad. But number two, that they've gotten moldy or mildewy, and I can only handle them outside because I'm sensitized to mold. I go into a horrible.
So did you look up something online on how to clean it?
No, I only tried 4 or 5 slides, and this was the best one, and I figured I'd play with it and got a lot of that out, ran it through Elements, then ran it through Topaz to try to get some of the, pretend like the mold and the mildew was noise, which I guess some of it was, but this is what I came up with. And of course I didn't play with the composition at all.
It's very nice.
Well, there's enough here to print, Helen, as I told you in a note. I think the original file, even as after I cropped it, wound up 8 by 8, and it was like 6 megabytes. So there's plenty of stuff there that you could print it.
Yeah, I just was wondering, I guess the reason that I presented it, I think that's kind of post golden hour, but anyway, I was just wondering if any of you had ever faced the problem of mildewed or
I have, Helen, and I mean, I've got a bunch of them, and I absolutely love them because of what's happened to them. Not to try to amend it, but to go with it. So what I would suggest, what I've done with a bunch of mine, is I put them in Affinity and then hit any adjustment. You've got Affinity, so put it in Affinity and hit any adjustment, and then hit the blend modes. Hit the blend mode thing down there at the bottom, and then just run through all the blend modes, and you get the weirdest, coolest looking stuff. I mean, who you know. Yeah, just play with it. I got some great looking stuff. I really love it. And I have to tell you that I have not found any other single human being who thinks that they're worth a damn. But I love them. I just, you know, I mean, the photorealism is everywhere. You get it all the time. Play with it. Give us something new. Give us something different, like your beautiful photographs in the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, there we go.
And Tom, will you send one of those shots to, or
Yeah.
more to Helen? And Helen,
Sure. Yeah.
will you pass them on to the rest of us, Helen?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
And I'm gonna
Let's
keep,
see.
I'm gonna keep going through and trying to select the ones that are worth saving and, but like I said, I have to do it outside. I can't do it in the house because I get dizzy. Mold does me in, so I get a neurological
Oh, God.
result to it. So that's why I'm having to do something, even whatever.
And Helen, you didn't mention what you used when you attempted to clean them. Was it a dry cloth?
I didn't attempt anything.
Okay.
I was afraid I was going to scratch.
Yeah. Well, canned air. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
And blowing it away from you, for goodness sakes. But
Yeah,
that might
I
be
don't want to use my little squeezy rocket thing because I'm
Yeah.
afraid I'll suck some of the mold spores down into it, and then
yeah.
so
I don't think that's supposed to do that, actually.
I hope not. But,
Well, I think they have a filter on the intake, but I think yeah, but it would work, I think.
yeah, I can't even get it on my hands.
Yeah.
Mold spores or
Oh, God.
it's dead. It's dead mold spores and pieces of the cell and pieces of DNA. Just
Wow.
wipes me out.
Oh,
Well, you got one good out of the bunch.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a color shift. I know the colors were pretty, but I don't know how much color shift there is there. But anyway.
Okay.
Great.
All right, Frank is up next.
Oh, pretty.
Yeah.
I was away all last week, at the end of the week and the weekend for a funeral, and I was driving back on Sunday. And up there, it rained all the time. As you at the funeral, it rained, so I couldn't get out at night. So I thought, well, I like everybody else, I'll just go back to archives and pick something. But then I got up Monday morning and said, "The hell with it! I'm going down to the village at 6 o'clock." The sunrise 6:06, and I just waited down there by the goat, and you can see the sun peeking through the trees there on the left side. So I captured that little field where the path is, where you can walk here up to the pool. So I captured that one. I got it around 7:45, so it was a bit outside because I think the sunrise was 6:06. So I was outside of that golden hour, but because of the trees, I think it gave a nice light to it. And so I got that one, but that was like 7:45. It was getting close to 8 o'clock, and I'd been there an hour and a half already. So that's what the sun, facing the sun. On the next shot is the silo and the farm there, but that's what the sun behind me. And I kind of prefer this one better. I think the coloring and the golden hue throughout it, I think, is better. And this was shot with a 28 millimeter, 1/640th of a second, f5 or 6.3, and an ISO of 100.
And Frank, I think one thing that really makes the photo is the way that the branches frame
it.
the
Yeah.
top half of the. And I was thinking about, well, what if the sky was darker? I don't think it would look as good if the sky was darker.
Yeah.
Personally.
I tried a couple of spots, and the problem was if I moved to the right, then the sun was coming through blaringly so. So I kind of moved back, and then when I moved back to this position, I did block the sun a little bit, but then I noticed those trees, the branches hanging down, nicely framed the photo.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
So I went with that one. I had taken about 3 or 4, but this was the one I liked best.
And this is the silo picture.
Yeah, this is the silo one. So in this one, this was taken about 15 minutes later, and the sun the sun was always being blocked by the trees behind me. So I waited till it finally came above the tree, and I thought they brought out the yellow coloring the most, and that's when I took this one. And this one was taken again the same day. It was like 15 minutes later. This was a 55 millimeter, and again it was 1/640th at f 4.5 and ISO 100. I had taken one that had a cow right down by the fence there, but the coloring wasn't as good, so I went with this one.
Well, it's nice.
Yeah, it's sharp from the close up to far away.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them.
Foreground, midground, and far back.
Yep, both of them.
I guess to me, this is a very nice picture of something. The first one I thought was just photographically, I was envious of that shot. I thought that was lovely.
The first one, yeah. I felt the same way when I got home and then looked at them both. I liked that first one better. I'm glad I took the time to get that one and hung around there a little longer.
Yeah.
That's
we
the
all
key,
applaud
having
you
the
for-
patience.
Yeah, we
What's that,
applaud you.
Bill?
For,
I'm sorry, Michelle, what was that?
I was just gonna say, we applaud you for being one of the only ones who went out and got a new shot.
Really, really.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of evening shots, haven't we? Yeah.
And the morning wasn't perfect. There was a lot of clouds out there, so, but I was happy with what I got, and I was glad I hung around and did it first thing in the morning.
All right. I was hoping Bob would come, but we look at his photos and there is, oh, that's not one of his.
Ooh.
Oh,
Well, I'll stay on this one since I screwed up and didn't get past it fast enough. This is mine.
okay.
Tamarindo, Costa Rica. And this goes back another archive one to 2010, I think. I think
Awesome, Mike.
I think I took 100 pictures of this before I got this one.
That's awesome.
That's it. And I like the way you got the branches wrapping around the sun.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Beautiful.
Neat place.
Like the sun's, like the tree is holding the sun.
It is.
Yeah,
Again,
if there's a way of getting detail in a sunshot like this, I don't know what it is.
Oh, that is really beautiful.
Anyway,
that is beautiful.
and we go from Costa Rica to Oklahoma.
Wow.
Contrails. Wow, it looks like that sky looks like a painting, like an abstract painting.
Yeah, there are
Wow,
lots and lots of contrails.
contrails. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Bob's.
Say where it was? Was it right here in the?
He didn't tell me. I don't think he told me.
Give me any information.
Let me go back and see, but I can get to that email. So, Frank, it's here someplace. There it is. Oh, this is Bill, I think you and I went to Onkanichi Speedway over by Hillsboro,
Oh,
and that's where this is.
Yeah, Bob had said that he was thinking about going up there either early in the morning or later in the afternoon. He probably did it.
Well, this speedway is defunct, but the path is still there, and there were a lot of, the day Bill and I were there were a lot of people walking the track. But there's a grandstand that's still there going up a hillside, and there is a plaque of all of the folks that have raced there, and there were some big names that were racing back in the 50s and 60s, I think. But that's where this is. I really like this picture. I think it's one of Bob's best.
Yeah. It's too bad he wasn't here to
Yeah,
give us more information.
yeah, so it's so serene.
Yes. And this has got to be the same place, going
Yeah.
down to it, maybe.
Pretty.
Get back and see if, yep, wait a second. Oh, he didn't label this one, but I think that's where it is. And this one's also really nice.
It is.
Could have been a bit of,
That draws your eye right down there.
yeah, that's a strong point, I think, leading you into the scene. The area just before you hit that bridge or whatever it is a little, I mean, literally a little overexposed, but it's a nice shot. Okay. Let me get out of this. Stop share. Okay. All right. I'm sorry that my issues may have been distracting.
They were amusing.
That's right. Provided some merriment. I
Adds
just hope you didn't
character.
lose the cat sitter. You're gonna have to find another one.
Yep.
Yeah, I hope she doesn't bail before I get back. Anyway, so
For those who
our
have
next
been up
meeting
to,
is in
for those that have been
person.
up to Sylvan Heights, any recommendations for maybe the best lens based on what there is to see up there? Yeah, what kind of focal length?
Yeah. I guess I've shot there a few times. If you're shooting FX, you could maybe get by with a 500, but it's, kind of too much lens for the place.
Right.
A zoom is awfully nice because you can't always, control your distance because, things are in kind of fixed places and you're in kind of fixed places. So I usually will shoot like 100, 400 up there,
Mhm.
and that seems to cover,
Yeah.
pretty
I
much
have-
what you'd like to cover.
Yeah, I have the Nikkor 200 to 500.
Yeah, be fine.
Yeah, because
my
I was
favorite-
concerned about the minimum being 200, because the very first time I used that lens, Frank and I were over at the Ag Center for the barrel racing. And the 200
Yeah.
was just like, they had to be at the far end to be
Right, yeah, yeah,
to be the closest. Because I'd like to bring that one.
yeah.
My favorite for birds is the Canon L series 100 to 400. I use it on a crop sensor, and with the crop sensor, I get effective 640 at the long end of the scale. So it's effectively a 160 to 640 lens.
Okay. That's gonna come up pretty quick.
So I'll just bring the 5-pound beast with me.
And I was there long, well, not years ago. It was like during the pandemic. I don't remember, did they allow tripods?
Yes.
They did,
They
okay.
did.
Yeah. We were lucky because it was, the crowds were minimal because people weren't
Right.
going out.
Yeah,
And the little cantina or whatever was not open. They weren't serving at that point.
right. It is frequently the case that there'll be a handy railing, if you want to study yourself on something.
Right.
Okay, we have another meeting coming up before the trek.
No,
Pardon me?
oh, the trek is the 7th.
Right, and we have a meeting
On the 6th.
on the
On the
6th.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we have, that's for on the 6th, that's the unusual perspective.
That's right.
And Bird's the time after that.
Yeah.
Okay, good meeting you all again.
Great seeing everybody again.
Good.
Very
Thanks.
good.
Bye.
Michelle
Appreciate
and
it.
Mike, good to see you.
Yep, certain.
Try
Bye-bye.
and make it next time.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Take it, everybody.
See
Take
y'all.
care,
Everybody.
folks.